Good? All right. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.
What happened?
I'm Jay Zawoski with Greg Boyson and Mario Cherubasi. There are gremlins in the system.
I was going to say, sorry, we were missing a file there, and so then it flipped on my face, and then I was confused.
You know what it is, Sarah?
Did Steven delete something that he shouldn't have?
Aliens.
It could have. I don't.
That's true.
Thought I put the file in. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've been telling people for years. My wife used to laugh at me. Who's laughing now? Hope.
And we just did a show too. Everything was. I don't know. We were missing something.
Here they come.
Well,
Sabotage.
All right, well, we better get the show going quickly. Thanks, everybody, for being with us. We appreciate you. Make sure you smash that like button for us on the YouTube page. Make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube as well. Podcast listeners, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff on your favorite podcast app, and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. That would be very, very helpful. As you know, I think by now, if you're someone who watches the show, yesterday, I guess late afternoon, Blackhawks chairman Rocky Wirtz passed away at the age of 70. Mario and I were able to jump on last night late and do kind of a quick breaking news sort of a podcast. Greg was at his trivia event, so didn't get the opportunity. So before we all get into it, we want to give Greg a minute to just kind of offer his thoughts right off the bat and let us know what you think.
Yeah, thank you. You guys did a great job last night, so I'm trying not to repeat how you guys laid it out as much. Obviously, first and foremost, sending my condolences and sympathies to the entire Wirtz family and Blackhawks organization. You know, Rocky Wirtz was a man that was so proud of being the Blackhawks owner and being the leader of an organization, and he was so proud of their achievements. And I know we're going to talk about his legacy, and his legacy is overwhelmingly positive and good. You know, there's blemishes along the way, but who won't have a blemish on their legacy when it's all said and done?
Right.
You know, we all know the situation that still has people not happy with situations. But overall, I'm going to tell, this is how you know Rocky Wirtz did something important here. I remember I took my dad to a Hawks game early on in the Stanley Cup era when I still had season tickets, probably 2009, maybe 2010. I remember early on, Rocky would sit in the crowd for the games. He would either sit in the 100 level, or sometimes I remember him sitting a couple of games up in the 300 level behind, like in the standing room only section. They'd put seats down for him to sit up there. It happened like 2 sections over from mine. I remember taking my dad to this game. They put Rocky Wirtz on the big screen, and the place goes nuts. 20,000 people start chanting, Rocky, Rocky. My dad sat there. My dad had been going to Hawks games since the Arthur Wirtz era.
Yeah.
Lived through the entire Bill Wirtz era. My dad says to me, I can't believe that a member of the Wirtz family is being cheered at a Blackhawks game.
Look, for those that don't remember, and I know there's a lot of folks here who are young and don't remember the dark ages when Bill Wirtz was in charge. When Bill Wirtz passed away, they did a moment of silence at a game, and people booed.
Yeah,
people booed during a moment of silence, and I think that's disgusting.
Like
I think
a eulogy, right?
It was the ceremony before the opening night because he'd passed away just before the 2007 season.
Yeah.
Rocky Wirtz. That's the opening chapter of Rocky Wirtz's book, The Breakaway, which if you've never read, I recommend everybody read it. It's very good, a brutally honest story about his dad and his grandfather and his taking over the team. He sat there in the United Center and listened to people boo during a moment of silence honoring his father. I mean, that's brutal.
Yes.
But his father...
And never appropriate, by the way.
Regardless of how you feel. I was never a Bill Wirtz fan, but I would never do that. But this is a man that took over an organization that was a complete afterthought in this city, a laughing stock across professional sports. And he made it relevant. He made it a world-class organization. He made it a model organization. He made hockey matter again in Chicago. And a lot of us thought that was never going to happen again. And he did it right off the bat. He did easy things to correct some of the wrongs in the past. Started off by bringing back Pat Foley. Bringing back and mending relationships with some of the all-time greats that turned their back on the organization, like Stan Mikita and Bobby Hull, Tony Esposito. Those things are important. Putting home games on TV, that never happened until Rocky Wirtz. Not only home games on TV, he had games during the Stanley Cup era on WGN.
Yeah.
Free.
Yep.
Local TV. That was unheard of. And you would think those are easy moves, but he did these things. He made people want to watch a product that most people, for a while there, the Blackhawks were paying the score.
That's right.
To broadcast their games on the radio. That's not how that works. The media outlets are supposed to pay you. The Blackhawks had to pay to put their games on the radio. That shows you where they were.
I produced those games, and I was in those meetings, and boy, that was again pre-Rocky, and you talk about like an organization that was just in the past, like just sleepy and all old guys running that just did not understand the concept of, I mean, the fact that you think up to 2007 that putting your games on TV is bad for business shows you how backwards thinking they were.
Yes.
It was crazy, and it was kind of ingrained in the organization, like top to bottom. It's how everybody thought, and it was weird. And I mentioned on last night's show that, and this is in Rocky's book as well, that forever the expectation would be that when Bill either passed away or was ready to retire, that Peter Wirtz would take over the Blackhawks, and Peter was much more in line with Bill's way of thinking. So when Rocky took over, it was a big deal in the family. It was a big deal. It was kind of a shock that Rocky was the guy that got it, but thank God it was him.
Yeah.
Right? And yes, putting games on TV is easy. Yes, all those little things he did are easy to do and common sense, but he went from an organization that when Jack O'Callahan signed with the Blackhawks, they gave him a jacket to wear at the press conference, and when it was over, they said, all right, give us a jacket back, to paying Marian Hossa, to going out and getting top free agents and signing their star players so they never walk away before they walk away too late. You know, in a lot of cases.
Right.
Like that, it was a complete shift in how the business was run, and it took it from, in 2007, there was a story on ESPN.com that the Blackhawks were the worst franchise in sports.
They were up there with like the Los Angeles Clippers.
Yes. And 6 years later, Sports Illustrated had a cover that said the franchise that saved hockey with the Blackhawks on it.
Yeah.
In 6 years, from worst to one of the top organizations in sports, and Rocky Wirtz gets a ton of credit for that.
Absolutely. And coming on at that right time, too. You know, it was right after Patrick Kane was drafted. Jonathan Toews was coming. It was right at the perfect storm.
Yeah.
To have new ownership as this exciting new team is coming together. It's kind of weird how, you know, history is kind of repeating itself right now. But there were some of the other things about Rocky that you could tell he cared. He cared about winning, and I guarantee you, if there was no hard salary cap in the NHL, he would have given the okay to do everything possible to keep all that team together as long as possible.
Yeah.
He did it, everything, you know, the long-term deals for Seabrook and Keith and Hossa and Kane and Toews. But I guarantee you, if there was no such thing as the hard cap or a luxury tax, he'd pay that tax. Brendan Saad never would have been traded. Artemi Panarin never would have been traded.
Think about that 2010 team would have never been dismantled.
Dustin Byfuglien wouldn't have had to get traded. You know, you wouldn't have had to trade away Teuvo Teravainen to get rid of Brian Bickle's contract. All these things, there would have been 4, 5, 6 Stanley Cups, or at least a couple more trips to the Cup final.
Yeah.
Because Rocky Wirtz loved to win. He did.
Well, and
that's
guess
what
what?
made him so different from all the other owners in this town. It wasn't just about the gate.
And winning is good for the gate. That's the whole point.
When you win, more people want to see you. You play more playoff games, where his dad's mentality was, let's just get to the playoffs, get that one series of extra tickets. Anything after that is gravy.
Yeah.
But we don't actually care about winning. Those 80s and 90s teams that were always so close. But Rocky made sure that they went over the top, and they got those guys.
That's a great point, because when you look at the 90s Hawks, all the guys that made me fall in love with the game,
Hall of Famers.
Larmer, Belfour, Chelios, that team was always one guy away from winning a cup. And they were probably good enough to win a cup. Like that series against Colorado in 96, whoever won that series was winning the cup. But Colorado had a little more firepower. They had Patrick Waugh versus Eddie Belfour, so a little bit notch better in goal, even though Belfour was outstanding in that series.
Yeah.
But the Hawks would never, ever go out and get that big free agent. It was always big name at the end of his career. It was Doug Gilmour, Wendell Clark, Paul Coffey. Wow, look at these names. These guys are Hall of Famers. Yeah, they're 5 years past their
Peter
prime.
Bondra.
Yes, right.
You know,
they were never
yeah.
go get the big free agent. How many times did Hawks fans believe Brett Hull was coming to the Blackhawks?
Or Keith Tkachuk was a guy that
Yeah.
was forever.
And
yeah,
s-
Brett
and
Hull.
it-
Brett Hull. I know a guy that his buddy says that it's going to be this year. They're going to trade for Hull every summer. In the 90s, you heard
And
Brett Hull was
put
coming.
Brett Hull on any of those 90s Hawks teams, and you got at least one cup guaranteed.
Absolutely.
I think so, yeah.
Guaranteed.
Absolutely.
So-
Rocky cared. He loved hearing his name chanted.
Who wouldn't?
He loved the pictures that he got to have with the Stanley Cup. He lived for that, and that's what you want out of your ownership. We have too many owners in this town and all across pro sports that just care about the bottom line. Just get me enough to where I make a profit this year. Rocky knew nothing was more profitable than winning a Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's what made the 2010 stuff and then the town hall outburst, that's what made that so disappointing.
Yeah, that's a great way to put
Because you
it.
knew that's not the real Rocky Wirtz. You knew that he was just as angry that happened on his watch as we were. And
I hope so.
I think that's where that outburst came from. And yes, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth. And you're going to have memories of that. But all the good he accomplished, he is leaving the Blackhawks in a place a million times better than he inherited it. And
Yeah.
that's what he should be remembered for. And that's what he's going to be remembered for. But yes, there's the blemish. And that's what made all of that so disappointing, because you knew Rocky really gave a shit and
Yeah.
really cared. And yes, the law firm report, pretty much in the reports, it's fairly apparent he didn't know a lot was going on at the time. I don't think it ever got that far. But, there's the response to that, and then there's all that stuff. And we don't need to go over. We've talked about that 100 times. The bottom line is, at the end of the day, the positive, Rocky cared about the fans, cared about this team, cared about this city. He invested so much into programs within the community, within different organizations, very charitable, and that showed a lot. So again, that's why the 2010 stuff hurts more, because you never thought Rocky was a villain. People who lived through the Bill Wirtz thought Bill Wirtz was a villain. People who lived through Arthur Wirtz thought Arthur Wirtz was a villain. You never pictured Rocky as a villain.
I've been thinking a lot about that outburst over the last, 12 hours or so, whatever it's been, 18 hours since we got the news of the passing. And I think what shocked everybody there, including Danny, who was sitting right next to him, was that it seemed so out of character. And it seems so out of the blue. Like, we had never seen that kind of behavior from Rocky before, or really since, right? Like, it was just that kind of one isolated incident, then the double down, and everyone's like, where is this coming from? And look, whatever the reason is, there's no excuse for it. I'm not trying to justify it. I'm just trying to understand it and where he was coming from in the moment, because we have people who work for ALLCITY, who used to work for the Blackhawks, who wrote us privately and said, for what it's worth, working for Rocky Wirtz was a pleasure. Every day was great. Treated us all very well. There was never any kind of weird tension or anything like that. And I think that outburst struck people. And I don't know if it was Rocky maybe just embarrassed about the whole thing and just wanting to move on. And maybe his thought going into the town hall was, this will be a fresh slate for us. We can kind of restate where we're at. And big miscalculation from him to not expect that question coming. But I feel like that might have been why the reaction was what it was look, it's handled. It's settled. Kyle Beach has his money. We're all looking to move on here. It's none of your business how we're going to handle things from here on out. Rude, coarse, all those things, absolutely. But I think I try to wonder, where it came from. Again, if it's someone that is known as someone who's like that all the time.
Right. If Rocky Wirtz was Mr. Burns from The Simpsons,
yes,
you'd be like, oh, Rocky's being Rocky.
Right.
But when you got a guy that's jovial and happy, and from all accounts, I got to interview him once when his book came out. Great guy from the 10 minutes of time I had from him. So to have that come from him, that's why it sticks with us.
And I think also the embarrassment of being in charge and not knowing that was going down. At least that's what the investigation found. That's what he says. And I saw a quote yesterday. I can't remember where it was. That this is before all this went down. John McDonough said something along the lines of, "I only tell Rocky Wirtz 7% of what's happening. The rest of the stuff is on like a need-to-know basis. I handle the little things. Like, is it presidential? Is it something he needs to know about? No, then I'll handle it." And if John McDonough is the guy making that call, very little in his mind needs to go up top. So I think embarrassment, frustration, the hope to move on, hoping the question wouldn't come, and then the frustration when it did. Again, it's not an excuse. It's not an excuse. But I know you try to understand where people are coming from in these things, and knowing what we know about Rocky, that's kind of the only explanation I can come up with.
Yeah, and that's fair and just, and I think it's on point. And to move on from that and just wrap up the thoughts on Rocky, he saved this franchise. There's no doubt about that. We wouldn't be sitting here with these jobs if it wasn't for Rocky Wirtz. And I think going forward, I think the Blackhawks are in very good and capable hands. I don't know the exact plan, but I'm positive it's Danny who's going to take on that role going on from here. I know there's other siblings that could be, maybe a partnership, but I think Danny has been groomed for this role, and having conversations both on the record and off the record with Danny Wirtz over the last year and a half, you could tell the values that were instilled from Rocky and his parents. And I think the team is in very capable and good hands going forward. It's a shame that we still have to bring up the 2010 stuff.
It's never going to go away.
It is what it
legacy,
is.
It's part of it,
right? But in the end, the positive overwhelmingly outweighs the negative from the Rocky Wirtz era of the Blackhawks. And I'm grateful that we had that time, and he was able to for everything he did for this organization, for this sport, in this city. He accomplished things. Excuse me. He accomplished things many people who were Hawks fans in the 80s, 90s, and first, early 2000s thought were never possible. And for that, I'm thankful.
Yeah, absolutely. Well said. I don't know how much more there is to add to that. I think Mario and I covered a lot of it yesterday. If you want to go back and listen to that one when this one's over. But look, it's just, as I said last night, I think it's a reminder that, people are human, people are flawed, people are complex. And I don't think one moment defines a person.
No.
Short of a murder or something along those lines, right? But I just think, it's important to look at these things with a little bit of nuance. And I know that there are people on both sides of the Rocky Wirtz argument that just refuse to. It's either he is a complete hero or he is complete trash, and there's no in-between. The in-between is reality for everybody. For everybody that's ever walked this earth, the in-between is where most things live.
I've had emotional outbursts. I've said insensitive things that I regret later in life.
Absolutely.
We all have. And
I think you say all the time, if you can go back in time and punch your 20-year-old self, you would do it?
I would kick 22-year-old Greg's ass.
Yeah.
Repeatedly. Because he deserved it. Shit, 30-year-old Greg would deserve a beating too.
Yeah.
The key is we all make mistakes, and it's learning from those mistakes and not repeating them, which is how you navigate through this thing called life.
Exactly. Yep. Anything else to add?
No, I think you guys all covered everything, and I we'll know what the future of the ownership looks like relatively soon, because you'd figure they'd get that ironed out before the season gets underway. And yeah, I think it makes the most sense that Danny would step into that role of kind of being that face of ownership for the Blackhawks, and I'll go from there. But yeah, it's like I said last night, it's weird, it's unexpected, it's really sad. Just unfortunate part of life that it has to end.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Greg, you want to tell us how we can look good on a golf course this summer?
I do.
I mean, at least in terms of clothing and not in terms of swinging
First,
the club.
Don't look at the scorecard.
That's not going to happen for me.
Don't look at me trying to swing a golf club.
It's all about the vibes
I
on the course.
haven't swung a golf club in probably I think the last time I swung a golf club was the opening of the 2009-2010 season when the Hawks were in Helsinki. I was at a bachelor party that started at Top Golf.
All right.
I was listening to that game on the radio.
Nice.
See, Top Golf is fun because you can shank it or hook it or whatever you want to do, and you might still get points.
Yeah,
Maybe.
no one cares. Yeah.
But anyway, if and when I ever decide to hit the links again, I am calling up our pals, our friends, Pins and Aces, and I'm going to get hooked up from head to toe in the best golf apparel. Pins and Aces is the official golf apparel partner of ALLCITY and CHGO. We love our Pins and Aces gears, and it gets tons of compliments on and off the golf course. They're a family-owned and operated apparel business, and they make amazing polos. More on that later when it comes to our CHGO golf outing coming up in about a month. Polos, hats, golf bags, even our favorite beer/beef sleeve, an innovative product that allows you to store 7 beers or 4 regulation beef sandwiches right inside your golf bag and keeps those drinks cold or those sandwiches warm for the entire round, depending on which you need to quench your thirst or your hunger. So check out pinsandaces.com and use the promo code CHGO to receive 15% off your very first order and get free shipping. That's one hell of a deal, and you can get that at pinsandaces.com.
Yeah, and if you want to get fitted out in some branded NHL, MLB merch, go to foco.com to get fitted out in the best sports gear around. They've got hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, banana hammocks, and everything in between. It is baseball season. Baseball season's underway. Cubs win. Aloha shirts, straw hats, polos, bags, everything you need for a game. And if you look around our lovely set here, aside from Greg, Mario, and I, Foco has donated a few awesome pieces for our sets, so go show them some love at foco.com. Click the link in our description below, and for all non-presale items, use the promo code CHGO for 10% off your order. Again, that is foco.com, foco.com. All right, we've got some NHL news, and as we have been kind of reserving Wednesdays in the offseason as our Around the League show. A lot of stuff to get to. I think most importantly, Patrice Bergeron calls it a career. He is retiring from the Boston Bruins, and a hell of a career by Patrice Bergeron. I think that's understating it. 1,294 games played, 1,040 points. He was a plus 289. 5 Selke trophies, 1 Stanley Cup. Just a fantastic all-around player.
6 Selkies, right?
It says here 5 on the old hockey reference page, but maybe it hasn't been updated. Okay. Regardless, several Selkies.
A lot, the most Selkies.
Yeah, they may be renaming the award for him eventually.
They should.
So it got us talking about how Bergeron was sort of always compared to Jonathan Toews, and with the hardships Toews has gone through over the last few years and the decline in his game, I think there's a lot of people around the hockey world that have sort of forgotten how great of a player Jonathan Toews was in his prime. There was legitimately a time where NHL GMs were polled that if they could start their organization with one player, who would it be? And Jonathan Toews beat out Sidney Crosby. That's how good of a player Jonathan Toews was for, what'd you say, about from 2009 to 2016-ish?
Yeah.
It doesn't tend to, probably 2010 to 2015.
Yeah.
I'd say that was
that cup window, yeah.
That was his peak, and yeah, that 13, 14, 15 stretch of time, it was regarded within the league that he was arguably one of the top 5 best players in the league, best all-around players. best captains in the league. That 2014 Olympics for Team Canada, I forget where I read the story, but he was supposed to be captain for Team Canada and decided to kind of go to Sidney Crosby about it and say, hey, I actually think you should do it. So, I mean, that's at that time, that regard for that team, I don't know what more you need to hear about, a guy's peak in his career. And, we were talking about it before the show, Bergeron compared to Taves, the longevity, the accolades, the numbers, Stanley Cups, and all that stuff. Both first ballot Hall of Famers, I think, in the eyes of pretty much everybody. And I think it's just Taves' peak, I think, was higher than Bergeron's, as we were talking about before. But the length of, maybe not peak, but at least that upper elite level hockey player, that length of time for Bergeron lasted longer than it did for Taves.
Yeah, I think there's understandably those factors that Taves has dealt with that have obviously stunted his later career. Missing an entire season is never easy to bounce back from. I think, the way he performed last year, despite not being in very good health for most of the year, was pretty impressive, that he can come back and be as effective as he was. Now it faded as the year went on, and he missed, a month or whatever it was there at the end. But yeah, I think that you put it well. Taves had a better peak, but Bergeron had a better long career than Taves did. But I just get frustrated with, I think there's a lot of factors for it. I mean, look, the last Hawks Stanley Cup was 2015. It was almost 10 years ago. So I think people have just maybe forgotten about how great those teams were. I also think maybe some people have Blackhawks fatigue from them being as good as they were for so long. I think a lot of it is the Kyle Beach stuff, where people just don't want to acknowledge that the Hawks were really good at hockey for a really long time. It could be a combination of the three, but there's been a lot of erasure about the kind of player Jonathan Taves was during his prime. And I don't want, I know it's not a problem here. I think most people here and watching our show know about it, but acting like Jonathan Taves was some, overrated run-of-the-mill, glorified second-line center, like I've seen a lot of people on Twitter talking about lately, is absurd. And it's frankly stupid. It's
recency bias. People seen what he was in the last 2-3 years, that he was actually able to play hockey. And then, you put it, the way you put it, it's just open season to shit on the Blackhawks. Those are obviously factors that come into play. But, I think as time passes, when guys like Bergeron and Taves are out of the league, I think you're going to look at it and say, like, they were pretty comparable players over the time of their careers. And, both of them, Messier Leadership Award winners, both of them Selke winners, both of them Cup winners. Just guys that when you put them on the biggest stages, they performed, and they were performed consistently for a very long time throughout their careers. So it's interesting. The Jay Fresh, hockey data guy, he put out there. I'm gonna find it as I'm describing it. He compiled the lists of balloting from the Selke Awards over the span of Patrice Bergeron's entire career, and it was just the numbers were just absolutely shocking. And I don't think we're gonna see a player of this caliber have numbers like this anytime soon. It's something that's really impressive. From 2000, not his entire career, but from 2011 to 2012, from that season to the 2022-23 season, so that's 12 years, 1,941 Selke Trophy ballots were submitted. 1,785 of them included Patrice Bergeron, which was 92%. And of those 1,941 ballots, 937 of them had Bergeron in first place, which is 48% of the votes. So over a 12-year span, from 2011-2012 to 2022-23 last season, 48% of all Selke Trophy first place votes went to Patrice Bergeron. Like, I don't think we're going to see a player for that award, as funky as it can be sometimes. I don't think we're going to see something like that for a very long time, where a player wins it 6 times in a 12-season span.
Yeah, that's insane. And
I mean, if they voted for wingers, Hossa would have done that, but they
That's
only
right.
vote for centers.
my friend.
It's a conspiracy against the wingers.
And someone said in the chat, too, about the injuries he was dealing with during the 2013 Cup final. He had played the final game of the series with cracked ribs, torn cartilage, and a punctured lung, suffered in Game 5, plus a separated shoulder sustained during the first period of Game 6. That's the 2013 Cup final against the Hawks. Patrice Bergeron is a total warrior.
Which he lost, my friend.
That's right. Who won that series, my friends?
Hey, I'm going to go total meatball. Yes, Patrice, I don't mean to interrupt you. Patrice Bergeron, ultimate warrior, not the wrestler, but the hockey player. Like, just exactly what, like, he's hockey culture, the good things about hockey culture personified.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes.
He's a guy you would want to lead any team that you have.
Absolutely. But I'm going to go total meatball fan right now. Here's the only stats that matter when you compare Taves to Bergeron. Stanley Cup final record.
There you go.
Jonathan Taves, 3-0.
Yeah.
Patrice Bergeron, 1-2. One of those losses against Jonathan Taves.
That's right.
That's true.
So you can give me all the numbers you can. 3 Stanley Cups to 1. Let the rings speak for themselves. You know, thankfully, Bergeron, they beat the Canucks in 2011. They did the Lord's work. But they canceled that out by allowing the Blues to win a Stanley Cup
Yeah,
in 2019.
that's true.
Can't
Never
forgive
forget
them
them
for that.
for that.
That's true.
Can't
That's
forgive
almost
that.
That's
That was
almost
a,
worse
that was
than
a hard
actually.
It was a hard cup final to root for.
It
Yeah,
really was.
it's actually worse than being the Blues is allowing the Blues to beat you for a Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
That's actually more egregious to me. Couple other bits of news, guys. I'm really concerned. Matt Murray is suddenly unable to play hockey.
Yeah.
And the Maple Leafs are just going to put him on long-term injured
It's
reserve.
amazing
long-term.
how he went from being medically cleared to play in the playoffs and a healthy scratch to now all of a sudden being too hurt to play. Piss off with this nonsense.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I saw a lot of Toronto Maple Leaf fans over the summer complaining about Mark Stone and the salary cap circumvention that the Golden Knights use when it's not. That's a rule that you can. There's no salary cap in the playoffs. Like it or not, it's a rule. They used it to their advantage. All of a sudden now Matt Murray can't play. There needs to be an investigation into this. This ain't right. Something's fishy here. Prove to me, not a note from Dr. Nick Riviera either. Like I need like an official, like real doctor
everybody.
telling me.
Show me the
saying-
body.
Yeah, like why can't all of a sudden this clown can't play?
Yeah. What is the ailment? Because if he
Besides
was
being bad at hockey,
if
I
he
don't
was
General
cleared
suckitude.
if he was cleared to play 2 months ago in the playoffs, what has changed? There's no re-injury. If he's cleared to play then, why can't he be cleared to play now? Yeah, it's very very fishy and very convenient that his gigantic salary cap can just be tucked away on LTIR.
Same with Jake Muzzin, but I think Jake Muzzin's.
I think Muzzin is actually
he's actually hurt.
screwed
Yeah.
for his health. So yeah, I think I saw it from Puckpedia with Muzzin and Murray going on LTIR. All they'll have to do to be cap compliant is clear like 1.3 million or something like that. So I mean, you
Get the Hawks shape McKay back.
you send somebody down to the AHL to begin the year or whatever, and you'll be fine.
They'll figure it out. They'll do the Jack Skilly bus riding thing where
Yeah, sure.
he's scratched and unscratched and sent down and called up
Yeah,
all the
So,
time.
but I mean, they still, even being at the cap ceiling to start the season is not good.
No,
You still
doesn't
got to
give you a
move
lot of
something.
flexibility. Yeah, especially
You got
if
to
they
move
wanna
some
make
money.
You got to imagine they're going to want to do some sort of wheelings and dealings at the trade deadline.
Yeah,
When you
you're gonna have
no
to.
cap space. You can't add. You have to swap. You know, you have to take something away to get something.
Yeah,
Even with Matt Murray, wait a minute. I'm looking at
with Muzzin and-
friendly.
they're like 12 million over the cap.
they're still with Matt Murray and Muzzin
No. So that's total.
because they have them on LTIR on cap friendly.
and they're still that.
That's what it says.
The way it was laid out was that they're like 12, 13 million over the cap, but you put Muzzin and Murray on LTIR, and then they just need to clear like 1.3 or something was the number.
Okay, well maybe so that your math is correct because
I don't think they.
It says LTIR candidate.
Yeah, because LTIR doesn't kick in until the season
starts. Yeah,
so
okay.
That will go away
So
from their cap hit.
that
once the
is
season
between
starts.
those two. It's 10,312,500, and they are currently $12,381,450 over the cap.
What did
so
the Leafs give Matt Murray? What's his contract?
That's big.
It is 4.6875.
For how many more years?
I think this is it.
Just 2 years?
Trying to see here. Yes, this is the final year of the contract.
They should be punished for signing him to that deal anyway. I mean,
Once I
who thought that was a good idea.
Somebody mentioned in the chat too that Maple Leafs fans were all very mad about the Marian Hossa thing, and
Everyone
some guy
was.
from
I saw
Winnipeg
you
mentioned
call out
that.
that guy. You called him out, or I was going to call him
It's
out.
like,
Read a book, dude.
Read something. Like, do a bit of research. Like,
Go look at the pictures in Marian Hossa's book, and then tell me
Even-
that was salary cap circumvention.
even if you think that it was fabricated, tell me the scenario in which the Hawks were better off without Marian Hossa.
Right.
There's no way. And it's not like they used that money to go sign a huge free agent or something. That
Yeah.
Hossa leaving was like the start of the decline for them.
Yeah.
That's what started the downward arrow for the Hawks. Like, come on. It's just ignorance. Like, I get. And look, Seabrook's circumvention, of course. Like, they've done it before.
Yeah. Hey, why don't you go get those 9 surgeries you've been needing for the last 10 years?
right.
Get them all at once.
Exactly.
We'll pay
Like,
for it.
of course, teams circumvent the cap because they have to.
Yes.
But, like, the Hossa thing is a horrible thing to cite. Again, that's your whole Mario. It's open season to shit on the Blackhawks thing.
Yeah.
It is, and I guess that's you when you let something like that happen on your watch, you kind of leave yourself open for that. But man, like if you consider yourself someone that follows the game of hockey, if you're still on the Marian Hossa thing was a cap circumvention, like you said, pick up a book.
It's right there.
Pick up his book.
Yeah, read his book.
It is harrowing.
Look,
Yeah.
take a look at the pictures he put in there. That's all
Yes.
you need to see. You don't
And
have to read it because I don't know if that guy can read. So, like, just look at the pictures. There's pictures for you.
I've been
Mr.
on his
Winnipeg
podcast
radio
before.
guy.
Yeah, he's good, and he's a good dude. I've been on his show before, but
Open foot insert,
Like,
open
dude.
mouth insert foot.
come on now. But yeah, I mean, he was on like rejection drugs that usually organ transplant patients get.
He was basically taking chemo level pills
right.
to play hockey. You can't do that. Your body will eventually completely shut down.
Yeah. It's
So
insane what the man went through to win that last Stanley Cup.
and
Yeah.
people still take pot shots at that when you say, oh, he's having one last game. It's like, oh, I thought he was allergic. He's playing one game in which he hasn't played in the last 6 years.
Right.
The one game is not going to all of a sudden re-aggravate to the level that he was experiencing. It's one game. He's probably not even going to wear full pads. He'll probably just wear a jersey and pants and be fine. So,
Yeah.
And by the way, if you're a fan of the legendary number 81, you can get our legendary 81
That's right.
shirt.
it's true.
50% off right now.
Now through
over
Sunday.
at CHGOLocker.com. Also, our CHGO hockey shirt is also 50% off. Plus, there's some other great stuff from our other shows too. But right there, that beautiful 81 legendary shirt, 50% off at CHGO Locker.
Yeah, and I saw the number 98 designs are starting to ship out too.
Yes, they
Yes.
are en route.
I'm looking forward to getting both of those at some point.
Yeah, keep your eye on your mailboxes. And if you want one, CHGOLocker.com. And as always, Die Hard save 20% on all merch. And by the way, I saw someone in the chat ask, how do you become a Die Hard? Very easy to do that. Go to allchgo.com to sign up. You'll get access to all of our great written content. You'll get a free shirt or hat upon sign up. You will get discounts on all of our events and all of our merch from there on out. That includes our golf outing, which we're going to tell you about later. Our takeovers, the Cubs and Sox takeover at Guaranteed Rate is tonight. That one is sold out, but the Cubs series is coming up. So there's always great stuff. We got Bears tailgates for every home game, which are a great time. So sign up to be a diehard. Once you get the free shirt and once you go to an event or two, thing pays for itself. And then every year upon renewal, you get another free shirt or hat of your choice at sign up. So take advantage of it. And then anytime we have these 50% off deals, you can still apply that code and save an extra 20%.
Yeah.
So it pays for itself. And really it helps us keep giving you all the content we give you. We're going to give you 6 podcasts this week. We're happy to do it. but those diehard memberships are one of the way we drive revenue, and we appreciate it. So if you like what we're doing here, consider becoming a diehard. Gift subscriptions are available as well. So if you got a friend who doesn't know about us or maybe can't afford it at this point in your life, help them out. Give them a diehard membership as a gift as well. Other news around the league. The guy I wanted the Hawks to sign, the big free agent, Sebastian Aho, is now off the market.
Yeah,
I did.
Say, wasn't that just Monday?
Yesterday.
That we talked
That was
about
yesterday,
that?
too.
Was that
Yeah.
yesterday? Jeez.
Yesterday.
Yeah,
Yeah, well,
Sebastian Aho, 8 years, 9.75 per year in Carolina.
good cap hit for Carolina.
That's a great deal for him. Great deal for Carolina, and smart on both sides. No reason to not invest in him, and like it's definitely part of what the Hurricanes are trying to do to keep their contention window extended as long as possible. Yeah, he was one of those. Not this. Was it this summer's? Yeah, this summer's upcoming free agent class. He's one of those guys that was in that top level of player that we thought, if it's not the biggest dog, one of them. But I didn't think Aho was ever going to reach free agency.
No.
And then this afternoon came to fruition.
As soon as July 1st hit, there was a lot of chatter that they've been working and trying to get this done. So I never expected him to hit a free agency. There was a lot of, more of perfect scenario type when we were talking about him being a target this summer. It's good for Carolina, good for him. When I saw the 9.75 cap hit, it actually made me look up to the Google machine.
Yeah.
Does North Carolina have state income tax? Because I was thinking one of those two, they do. It's not as high as other states, but I thought, maybe that's how they were able to, because it's probably less money than he gets on the free market.
Yeah, I would think
But it's more
so.
years, I think.
But but I think what was appealing to me though for him as a free agent was it's not going to be that Matthews Draisaitl cost that you're going to have to eventually pay Bedard.
Right.
So you can have your B option, make a 9 or 8 or whatever, and still be a very, very worthwhile compliment to Connor Bedard.
Yeah.
But cross him off.
Cross him off.
I guess William Nylander becomes the new focus for everybody, right?
Okay.
Yes, I want everyone to be very angry when he becomes a Blackhawk.
Then the Hawks Hawks will be
them
the
all.
only team in history to have every Nylander play for them.
And maybe we
Yeah.
finally get a good one.
Put that on puck.
Michael Nylander was good.
But
He
that
wasn't
on
He
great.
wasn't good when he was a good NHL player, but again, like in most situations, we got him towards the tail end of his career when he wasn't quite
I
as
will
good
not
as he
stand
was.
for this.
left.
Michael Nylander
He
was a good
wasn't
player.
he a point per game player for the 2 seasons he was there?
Yeah.
Not quite. He had he played 1, 2, 3, 4 seasons with the Hawks.
Who am I thinking of?
The 4th season only 9 games, but he had 61 points, 64 points, both of those in 82 games, and a 51-point season in 66 games. Now remember, the teams he was on though, he was on the most
garbage.
stacked Blackhawks teams. The 99-2000 roster was Tony Amonte, very good, of course. Steve Sullivan, Alexei Zhamnov, Doug Gilmour, Michael Nylander, and then a banged-up Eric Daze. And then from there, ooh, boy, Dean McCammond, Joseph Marha, J.P. Dumont, Blair Atchinham,
Yeah.
J.Y. LaRue, Michael Grosek. Oh, boy. Which trade was that? They got Grosek. Was he in the Gilmour trade,
It was a
too?
Buffalo. I thought we got him from Buffalo.
Buffalo, yeah. What was that
Might have been the
trade?
Gilmore trade because it was.
Yeah, because that trade happened during the year. So Grosek came back for Gilmour.
Yeah.
Was it Gilmore? Was it Grosek and JT Dumont, or did Dumont
Yes,
go
I
the
believe
other
that's
way?
right. No, I think it was Gilmour and Dumont.
For Grosek,
For Grosek.
and something else.
Cool.
It was a very Grosek trade.
God. By the way, a fun Doug Gilmour story. I was at a Hawks game in a 300 level back in the day.
Doug Gilmour stories.
And
out
there
there,
was some
too.
dude just like giving it to Doug Gilmour, just screaming, "You suck, Gilmour! You suck!" And he's yelling and yelling and yelling the whole game, and then he peed his pants.
Doug Gilmour or the guy?
The
yelling?
guy. I don't know if Doug did it. I couldn't tell with the black breezers on, but the guy was just standing there screaming, and all of a sudden he stopped, so we all looked back and we just saw like the puddle form.
Oh, God.
Ooh, that guy's had a lot. He has had a lot to drink. So, oh man, Steve McCarthy. Remember Steve McCarthy?
Good old number 5.
Vaguely.
He hit my wife with an errant puck at the edge in Bentonville. There you go.
Jeez.
I mean, that's a bad team. Like Tony
All right,
Monte
It
was great.
Some horrible teams.
All right, I'll apologize for some of my Michael Nylander slander.
He was a real smooth skater, really nice playmaker. Surprisingly pretty soft, but he was ineffective. He was pretty good.
Yeah,
for a second line center, he was pretty good. So,
all right.
What else we got around the league here?
I mean, I don't want William Nylander to be the
prize.
Prize.
He wants 10.
I'm not giving him 10.
I don't know.
Maybe
It's so hard to tell.
Maybe
until you're
it's
out of
10
Toronto.
in Toronto. Maybe if it's open market and Bessie's getting his 9.
I don't know. I
Maybe
feel like that's the
maybe
kind of
that's-
guy who can get a bidding war going.
I'd rather wait till the following summer and see what happens with Draisaitl or Rantanen.
Brandon's very.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
I
could.
love Draisaitl, but he's gonna be so expensive.
Draisaitl's going to be more expensive than Nylander.
Dave's
What's
better,
the
though.
odds that Rantanen hits the market?
We'll see. Eventually, Colorado's got to stop paying everybody. Someone's going to get sacrificed eventually.
No, I agree.
But we'll see. Yeah. I don't know. Toronto's got a lot of decisions, not a lot of easy decisions coming up. And no matter what they do, people are going to be, some people will be outraged, some people will be happy, but they got to do something. But apparently they're not doing anything this year. They're going to go right back with it with the same group.
Sure.
And then act surprised when they get eliminated from the
Well, they added
early in the
if they
playoffs.
go back with the core 4, which it looks like they're gonna, and they add Max Domi and Tyler Bertuzzi. So it's a much better team if they don't lose anybody big.
You're hoping and praying that everyone's healthy and you don't have to. If you have a fully healthy club going into the trade deadline and playoffs because you have no cap space, sure, hopefully that works out for you. But I don't know. You got Samsonov in net. He has had one pretty decent season. Is he reliable enough defensively? You got Klingberg there. That's good for offense, but
not good defensively.
Not great defensively.
Yeah.
I don't know. We've seen this movie too many times I believe in it. It's a lot of the makeup is the same.
And I'm not sold on your coach either.
Questions defensively, questions in net. What is your forward depth going to provide you?
And then
Coaching questions like
all it's going to take is one
all the same.
overtime playoff loss for them to get the here we go again vibe again. And
I think there's going to be some of the pressure of the first round exit jinx being off of them a little bit because they got out of the first round last year, but then you got your ass handed to you by the Panthers, who your fans
Here's
wanted
your
you to
ass.
play.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You might as well have lost in
hockey
the first
karma at
round.
its finest.
And it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
They're
still a top 5-6 team in the league. Like I have no doubts that they're going to be a top seed in the East, but
they're a great regular
What are you gonna
season
do when you
team. I
get
just
there?
don't believe that core together can get it done when it matters most. I think they're a very fragile team mentally, and that goes a long way. The second you face adversity, they turtle. That was, we've said it many times about the Hawks Stanley Cup runs. They were mentally tough. That's why they had resiliency. They kept coming at you. They didn't care. Down 3-2 in a series, got you right where you want you. Down 3-1 in a series, we'll chip away at it one game at a time.
Yep.
Maple Leafs lose a game, and they're like, well, we tried.
that's why they brought in Ryan Reeves
For 3 years.
to fix the fragility.
Don't forget about that.
That's why we need a fart noise sound effect here. Like,
Do we, Sarah? Do we have a fart noise sound effect?
We don't. I've actually
All
said
right.
the same thing. I literally told Lawrence, I was like, we need more little.
Give me some
little
plain
noises.
white
Maybe
bread.
someone over there
We'll
has
get
a
some
fart?
fart noises in here.
I can conjure one up if we need to. I just don't think anyone wants
yeah,
it
I
to
mean,
be
I
that
could
real.
record some at home or
There's
in
going to be
the
a
car
pink guy
ride.
in front of this microphone if I do that.
Yeah, I don't have a family.
We got that one.
It's like, yeah.
Never losing that one.
Good enough.
And then you have your Detroit Sox, and then your then the goal horn one, which that one's good.
No, we'll save that for when they score some goals. All right, last little bit of news from around the league. Our buddy Craig Morgan at PHNX reporting that there is momentum towards Logan Cooley signing his entry-level contract to play for the Coyotes this season. Now, if you remember,
crazy.
It looked like Logan Cooley was going to go back to Minnesota for his sophomore year. But now it seems to be that Logan Cooley is going to play for the Arizona Coyotes this year.
I wonder what changed.
Me too.
I don't know.
Because it was always he waited until the
arena
stadium
deal.
referendum, and then when that failed, it was kind of like, nope, I'm going back to Minnesota, which made everybody freak out, saying, "Oh, he's never signing here."
Mm-hmm.
And now here we are, 2 months later.
Should we speculate wildly?
Yes.
I mean, what else are we going to do?
Some sort
It's
of
July.
crazy conspiracies happening in Minnesota.
I think.
Aliens.
Aliens.
I
clearly.
think he was just too afraid to lose his job to Oliver Moore, and he was like, "Screw it, I'm out of here."
That's
There you
true.
go.
That
Fair
kid
enough.
is so much better than me. I don't want him to embarrass
Yeah.
me. Eat my lunch at practice every day. I don't want it. I'm out of here. I can't take it.
Well,
That has to be the reason.
we got
It
to
is.
take up. We have issue with our buddy Cam Robinson now, who went on Twitter and said that he could give Connor Bedard a run for his money for the Calder.
I mean,
Logan
he,
Cool-
he could. He's
Logan
right.
Cooley
He's
could,
not, but he could.
Don't think so.
Look, I
I like Logan Cooley.
I
Great
think
player.
I think Logan Cooley is a fantastic player. He probably could have played for Arizona last year and been a regular NHLer and contributed to them getting the 6th and 12th picks. And yeah, I think what we saw from him last year at Minnesota was really encouraging. I have no doubts that he can step into the NHL, step into that Coyotes roster, play an elevated role, and have a pretty impressive rookie season. Is it going to be more impressive than Connor Bedard's? I don't believe that to be true. No. But also from Cam, like, look at this potential rookie class that is going to be all vying for or have a chance to, go for
to
the
finish in second place
Calder,
to Connor Bedard.
Calder Trophy as Rookie of the Year. Connor Bedard, Logan Cooley, Adam Fantilli, Devin Levi, Brant Clark, Luke Hughes, Matthew Nyes is still eligible, I guess, David Urasek, Shane Wright, Simon Edvinson, Dustin Wolf, William Eklund, and Owen Zellweger.
It's a good rookie.
Who the
That's
fuck is
what
Renee
a
Zellweger?
what a rookie class. Like, that is insane.
Renee Zellweger plays
From
hockey.
Chappelle Show, the wife swap episode, which is one of the great ones. Who's Renee Zellweger? Yeah, they're all going to lose to Connor Bedard. Thanks,
Yeah.
unless you've got the Pudwackian voter that's just going to
Well,
be.
see, that's where the Matthew Nees thing comes in, because I worry about the people in Toronto and the East Coast.
I think there's more people that hate the Leafs so than love them.
Yeah, but you're gonna have the.
Well, that was in the Athletic.
Yeah.
All votes except one.
Gee, I wonder who
were
the
for
one
Connor
vote
Bedard.
for Matthew Nees was.
Yeah.
Rhymes with turtle.
Chris in the chat says McDavid lost the Calder to Panarin. You never know.
Because he was hurt.
Yeah,
though.
It's because he only played half the season
he
and broke his
collarbone.
collarbone. Yeah.
Had he played the full season, Panarin doesn't win that award.
Yeah, he would have scored 90 points. He was on pace for 90 points that
Yeah.
year as
that
a
good?
rookie. That's pretty good. That when we did our little, rookies to score 70 or more in the last 20 years, I think the highest was a Barzal with like 82 or something like that. It would have been McDavid.
Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah,
about
I
that.
think so. Yeah, it's going to be fun. I think a lot of those guys, in any other season without
I know
Connor
it was
Bedard
Crosby.
would be an amazing Calder race.
Yeah.
And it's still good. It's probably going to be a lot closer than we like to think. But I mean, come on, it's Connor Bedard's award to lose.
If we're saying Connor Bedard could be in the 75 point range, is there any reason a guy like Cooley or Fantilli couldn't also be close to that range?
Maybe. I don't know about Fantilli. I don't know if Fantilli is going to be the dynamic goal point producer right out of the gate, because he won't have to be. He's got a team that's got some
true.
better players. So he's
Yeah.
going to get. He's not going to be a top line guy from day one like Bedard will be.
That's true.
So and Cooley, if he plays, him and Keller together is going to be pretty darn good.
Hey, I'm just glad to see the Coyotes actually seemingly trying to get better.
They're at least giving the
And trying to
appearance
go
that
for
are.
it.
They
Yeah.
put together a better roster this year than last year for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Probably
sign your
because they're not
players.
trying to tank, but also like the point you made yesterday about, some GMs build teams, some GMs fill out a roster. It seems like for a long time, Phoenix, Arizona.
Well, you can go take it back to the Phoenix.
You could take it back to Phoenix too, yeah. They were just kind of filling out rosters.
filling out the roster, yeah.
And now it seems like with a lot of the young talent that they brought in, potentially having Dylan Guenther and Logan Cooley playing this year, along with Clayton Keller, along with Matthias Maselli, You see the young players coming in, making a difference. I think it would be great for our colleagues at PHNX if the Coyotes started operating as a real hockey team and had some real interesting things to do on the ice rather than worry about where they're going to have that ice.
Must be the matching suits.
What I think too, having a team that is resembling an NHL team, like you said, and is trying to build something and is trying to win and has exciting young players. If you capture the imagination of voters that say, "Hey, the Coyotes are looking better,"
Right?
Yeah, let's vote yes now. You know what I mean?
Well, that's part of it too. If you had a winning team, it'd be a lot easier to get in Reno.
Absolutely. And maybe they're finally learning that, because some of the moves they made this offseason, like bringing in Dursey and some of the other things they did, they are what you're talking about, building a team, and with Cooley and the rest of the young talent they've got there, they're an arrow pointed up organization for sure. And I hope it stays that way, because I don't know, for the sake of our pals, I want it to work there.
Yeah.
Yes, for no other reason, I hope they get good for Petey, Leah, and Craig and the whole PHNX.
And I like those uniforms. The
Yeah.
old school Coyotes uniforms.
Keep you. If they were to relocate, you can't keep that because it's.
That's the biggest.
You can go to Utah and be the Coyotes. If the Utah Jazz
But you
can
can't
exist,
keep the jerseys.
the Utah Coyotes can exist. That's true.
Can't keep the jerseys.
There's no
though.
Jazz in Utah. This is science.
There's probably coyotes in Utah. Migrate.
Well, no,
I'd
there's,
imagine.
there's probably
North.
some Jazz in Utah. Like, I bet you there's a lot of Kenny G fans in Utah. That's technically Jazz.
I guess, yeah, technically.
Yes, Coyotes are quite common in Utah.
There you go.
So you don't have to change
you go.
anything.
There you go.
I'm
Boom.
just saying the Kachina.
Yeah, you can't have the
You
Cochina.
can't have
anymore.
those jerseys
Said to have
because it's
something
all
Mormon.
Arizona based. They could just do the white shirt, black tie, and black pants.
There you go.
A little.
Just go back to the Cooperalls, just
yeah,
black Cooperalls,
yeah.
and an all white jersey with just a black stripe down the middle.
Perfect.
Beautiful.
They can all look like Michael Douglas from Falling Down.
There you go. Exactly. All right. Hey, what are you doing August 25th? Well, scratch it off, because you're coming to the CHGO Big Drive Energy Pins and Aces CHGO Kickoff Classic Golf Tournament at Cog Hill number 2. That is the Ravines course. Again, 9 a.m., August 25th, Cog Hill. Be there. You can sign up as an individual, a twosome, or a foursome. And once again, if you're a diehard, you'll get a promo code. Email events@allcitynetwork.com to receive your discount code for the tournament. Your entry fee includes 18 holes with a cart, an exclusive Pins and Aces tee gift for every player, access to the limited edition Pins and Aces CHGO Polo, hole contests, great giveaways and prizes for contest holes, winning teams, and last place, lunch, drinks, and a ceremony after the round. You can sponsor a hole, sponsor the tournament. If you want to, go to allchgo.com, navigate over to our events tab, click that CHGO Kickoff Classic link. All the information, including the email address to get your promo code as a diehard, and if you want to sponsor a hole, are all on that info page, allchgo.com. Come join us August 25th at Cog Hill for the CHGO Kickoff Classic. It should be an awesome, awesome time.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it. And as someone who has looked up tee times and greens fees at Cog Hill before, your entry fee to the event pays for the 18 holes with the cart. Everything else is gravy on top of it all. So it's going to be a great time. Hopefully we get some good weather out there for the event. So you have a nice, bright, sunny day, nice, warm day. And when it's a bright, sunny, warm day, while you have your Shady Rays on, reach into your cooler and pull out a nice, cold Goose Island beer, because they are the proud beer sponsor of us here at CHGO, and they have been Chicago's beer since 1988. When you reach into your cooler, it might be a Goose IPA, the 6-time medal winner at the Great American Beer Fest, which is always in style with a citrus aroma and bold hop finish. Or it might be the Tropical Beer Hug, the dry hopped Imperial IPA that is dangerously easy to drink at a 9.9 ABV. Could also be the Full Pocket Pills, the everyday beer that the Goose Island beer brewers are drinking. Or to match the golden sun up in the sky, you get the golden can, the 312, the wheat ale, the staple of Goose Island's extensive beer roster. And you can get deep into that extensive roster, grabbing ultra-fresh, brewery-exclusive beers at their Goose Island Original Brewhouse on Clybourne Avenue in Lincoln Park, or you can go to their tap room in Fulton, in Westtown on Fulton Street. Again, that's the Goose Island Beer Company, Chicago's beer.
All right, tomorrow we are at the card show, the National Sports Collectors Convention in Rosemont. If you're going, look for us. We're going to be there all day. It's not just us. It'll be every CHGO show. We'll be live from the National Sports Collectors Convention.
Starting at 11, I believe.
Yeah, I think 11 a.m. is the
11
first
is our
show.
first show. We'll be on at 2, our
Yeah.
normal time.
Should be an awesome time. I've never been to this before. I've heard awesome things about it. Maybe I'll come home with a little piece of memorabilia.
Yeah.
I used to collect those McFarlane sports, like the really detailed
Yeah.
hockey guys. I
Little
still have a
figurines.
Chelios and a Tebow and a Ronick in my office.
Yeah.
I think I need to add a new one to the collection, so maybe I'll do that
See
tomorrow.
if something's there. You can go to their website and look at the roster of people who will be there. It starts today. The people who are former athletes are all showing up. It's a who's who from all different sports. There's some great former Chicago athletes as well. On the hockey side of things, Jaromir Jagr is going to be there this week.
See if we can get him on the show.
We'll try.
Like, hey, we had Marion on.
We'll do our best to try. Yeah. So yeah, it's gonna be an awesome time if you're coming out tomorrow. Come out, say hi to all your favorite CHGO sports friends, and also on tomorrow's show, we're gonna have a little time with Eric Andrews, who is a co-host of the Center Ice Cardcast. He's also with therink.com. So he's going to jump on. He is huge into card collecting and sports memorabilia, so we'll have him on there, talk a little bit of shop with that with regards to Blackhawks and hockey cards and all that. And I think he's got some cards that maybe the players you were listing earlier today, Jay, we might find some hockey cards for some of those players.
Give me a Steve Sullivan card.
Yeah, so we'll talk with Eric a little bit tomorrow too.
Should be fun. I'm going to
Nice.
get there early tomorrow to check out the convention.
Yeah, I'm going to wander around a little bit.
Spend some
take
money I don't
take
have.
a lap or two. Yeah.
Then me and Rick Camp from the AmFat Podcast are going to Shaq's Big Chicken after the show. So you
Shaq's
guys-
Big Chicken.
Shaq just opened a chicken restaurant in Rosemont.
That's my cousin's favorite chicken place because he goes to Northwestern and they have a place. They have what is it? A Shaq's Chicken?
Big
Shaq's
Shaq
Big-
something.
They have a location there. Very
I
popular
don't know why it's
now.
not called Chicken Shack.
It's becoming the new
Yeah,
Cane's
SHAQ.
now. It's like
Do they have more than one sauce?
I've never been.
Don't get me
I've just
started
been
on that.
I've been hearing all about it though.
Raising Cane's is good, but how about a second sauce?
No, do not.
But that sauce is the
You-
boss.
Cane's is pretty amazing.
I love it too, but you
Sometimes
can't throw me a
simplicity-
barbecue sauce.
All I need
Sometimes
is one
simplicity
sauce.
goes a long way.
I just need one.
I'm a big fan of the toast you get at Raising Cane's.
That is good.
Yeah.
And,
I'm a big fan of
and
that.
unneeded and horrible for
I like
you.
it, though.
No, it's really good. But I would just love, hey, how about
It's like
a
Texas
barbecue
toast, right?
sauce too?
Bring your own sauce.
Yeah, bring your own.
Like in my
can't-
sleeve.
You can't tell
Like
me.
Buddy the Elf with maple syrup.
You can't
Yeah.
tell me you don't
Literally.
have McDonald's barbecue sauce cups
I
in your
don't.
car
So here's a
somewhere.
weird
There's
thing
no
about
way.
me. A weird thing about me is I can't mix brands. So like, my buddy Rick Camp for the AmFat Podcast can go like he'll get a Wendy's burger and
Oh,
McDonald's
yeah.
fries. I can't mix brands,
Run the gauntlet.
I feel that.
so
No,
I can't
yeah,
go bring McDonald's barbecue sauce to Burger King. It's not right. It's not how it's supposed to be.
I agree with that.
But
yeah.
if Cane's doesn't give you a barbecue sauce,
It's not
you're
meant
not
to be.
mixing brands.
They
it's
have
not meant to be,
ketchup,
though.
Then
but
stop complaining
that's
about
about
it.
it.
So what about like a barbecue sauce that's just a barbecue sauce, like Sweet Baby Ray's or something like that?
And just bring that for my Raising Cane's.
You could do
I'll
that.
try it.
Yeah.
Sweet
Bring
Baby
a little
Ray's.
Tupperware container full of your favorite barbecue sauce.
like a little paint palette
Yeah.
of different barbecue sauces.
Bring your own flight.
I should a flight of barbecue sauces.
Flight of barbecue sauces.
All right,
That
good
sounds
idea.
great. I think you got. That's what you got us for
One for each
Christmas.
strip.
That's what I did get you
Yeah.
a flight of
I
or
did.
hot
We
sauces
got,
or
we
whatever.
got
it was.
They're
various
quite
barbecues.
delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good.
bring 4 different sauces, one for each chicken tender.
There you go. I like it.
Yeah.
Good idea. That's it. We're getting Raising Cane's. All right. We'll see everybody tomorrow at the card show, and we'll talk to you at 2:00 on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast. Thanks, Sarah.